I was thinking about this when I knew I was doing the show with you, because I think you might be able to sink your teeth into this. I talked to the coach last night, and maybe we can bring up some of the sound pops from yesterday. Just generally speaking, thank you. I told the coach, and actually it was funny because Matt Nahagian, our boss here, he said, man, you went a little heavy on the refereeing stuff, didn't you? And I was like, yeah, because I think there's a level of importance there. And not only as it relegated to the Golden State Warriors, but just as a product. Because I know exactly what Steve Kerr is saying and was referring to when he's like, I wouldn't watch that second half before he got up and left that press conference. Larry, when I watch NBA these days, I have a hard time, man. It is so over-reffed, and it is so fractured and segmented. And the referees that disrupt play and the fluidity of what is, I think, the best athletes in professional sports going the full 94 feet. But the fact that you have so much stoppage and the referees have such a big component of all of this. And what kills me the most is when you hear, oh, well, they let him play in the fourth quarter, especially when it gets to the NBA Finals. Well, they'll let him play a little bit more now it's the playoffs. Why the hell don't you let him play the entire contest? I don't know where you're at with that, but I do think Steve Kerr touched on something that it's not only relegated to the Warriors and the calls that went Jokic's way, but I just think when you're talking about the product that is the NBA and entertainment specifically, it's hard to watch at times.
I don't like a disjointed game where the officials are killing any and all flow with just call after call after call. But the league has made a conscious decision. They want to reward skill over any kind of physicality, and I think that's a positive. But flow is a big part of basketball, man, and it's a big part of watching basketball. So I think flow is a major part of the game, and I'm with you. I'd rather see them err on the side of fewer calls and fewer whistles. I'll tell you, though, what bothers me more is that, okay, the NFL is the most popular sport in America, and if you don't believe that, look at the Christmas ratings.
That's ridiculous.
They just absolutely destroyed the NBA, and we know why, because football's football, and NBA and an NBA regular season game is not of the same importance as an NFL game, because there's only 17 games now in the season as opposed to 82. So you knew the NFL was going to kick butt TV ratings wise on Christmas. But the one thing I don't like is I don't like the whole, like the big announcement before every playoff game is who's going to be reffing tonight. And they've got their own tendencies and their stats connected to the refs. I want to watch a game between two teams. I don't want to watch a game between three teams. And I don't want to me, the NBA ref has way too much, there's way too much knowledge about their tendencies, and, this guy calls it this way and that guy calls it that way. I'm like this with baseball too. It's nice when you listen to like Krug and Kipe on the TV side give you the breakdown of the umpires, but at the end of the day, it's like, this is my interpretation of the zone. Stop. Call a strike a strike. I want them all to be more uniform. To me, the best games, whether it be baseball, football, basketball, when you walk into the game anticipating the play of the players, and you walk out of the game talking about the players. If you're walking in or out talking about the umpire, the refs in basketball, the officials in football, they haven't done their job. I'd rather see them just kind of not have tendencies and do it more the same. And, I don't want to know who's reffing this game tonight, and I don't want the revelation of those names to have any real impact on the action. And yet it seemingly has a huge impact.
Well, here's the issue as it relates to the Golden State Warriors and the NBA is how can you not, when you think about the intimacy of the game, so you got 10 players on the floor as opposed to NFL and Major League Baseball. I know there's conversations in those games, but in the NBA, during every timeout and free throw, there's a player talking to a ref, and they get to know that you forge relationships.
Right. There's an ongoing, if you're sitting courtside, you can actually hear the ongoing dialogue.
And
I don't think that's a good thing.
It compromises objectivity because it's human nature. I like this guy, don't like this guy. And so as a referee, you're already compromised. And I think all that stuff, I said this to Steve Kerr, and he basically, Dan, you've lost your mind here. But I was like, I would like to see all of that removed. Just stop with you don't need to talk to the referee. You don't, and what happens eventually is it gets to the point where you have a Scott Foster and a Chris Paul blowout where they just don't like each other. And typically you don't want Scott Foster refereeing those games. It should never get to that. It should, to your point, that they should be somebody that you're not even aware of and in the background, but you become they are such a large component in terms of dictating the outcome of basketball games right now. And I think something has to be done. And to a larger degree, it has a lot to do with the popularity of the sport. I think, and anything's going to pale in comparison in terms of revenue for that of the NFL. But I do think it goes a long way as far as, jeopardizing what I think is a good sport because of the referees' compromised objectivity. Because they have, and the other thing is when you play a little bit longer, referring to a rookie, you'll get that call. Why? A foul's a damn foul.
I really don't like that either. I hate there's like insider knowledge on all this stuff, and like you've got to pay your dues. I mean, look in the NFL. There's calls made all the time. It's pretty rare that you hear, even in a live mic situation, an NFL player use the official's first name. In the NBA, it happens every night. Scott, hey, come on, Scott. Well, Steph, it's just ongoing dialogue.
What's worse, Larry? I hate to interrupt, but when the referee not only refers to players, but uses their nickname. KD, you got to watch yourself. I mean, because he doesn't know the rookie's nickname or that whole crap of calling a guy like, back in the day, Magic, like, come on, man. Are you a fan or are you a referee? What the hell's going on here?
Well, and I'll tell you the other thing I don't like what I've seen happen to Draymond, where his priors now get him like quicker whistles. And I know that's human nature, but ref each game independently, and give everybody a clean slate at the beginning of every game. I mean, that's the way I would do it. The other thing that bothers me, Steve calls a timeout. There's 5 guys on the court, 3 head back to the bench, 2 go to negotiate with the official. It's like enough of the negotiation during timeouts. Everybody go back to the bench. But the NBA player is a star. They're the attraction, and they're going to have a say. And I don't see it changing. I really don't. I mean, you can hear by the way the NBA refs use the players' names and nicknames, as you said, regularly, that there's a relationship. There's like an ongoing dialogue, and they'll give the stars of the league all kinds of room that they don't give other players. And then if you do have priors, it seems like there's guys that are just so at their wits' end. With Draymond Green, you shouldn't be at your wits' end in the first quarter of a game. You should treat it like a new game. But your rep kind of precedes you. So I would like to see a little bit more personality from the players, a little less of the refs' personalities.